A video recording provided by the 25th Separate Airborne Brigade shows Russian occupiers camouflaging themselves with civilian clothes and attempting to attack Ukrainian fighters in Pokrovsk. This was reported by the Telegraph. As the publication reports, residents of Pokrovsk are helping Ukrainian troops identify Russian saboteurs. As can be seen from the video, an elderly couple of city residents direct a Ukrainian drone at a house where Russian soldiers were hiding. Moreover, the woman, leaning on a cane, specially opened the gate so that the UAV could fly into the yard and eliminate the occupiers. According to the Telegraph, Ukrainian soldiers stationed in Pokrovsk are being attacked not only by Russian drones, but also by dictator Vladimir Putin's troops disguised as civilians. The saboteurs moved in groups of 3 or 4, occupying abandoned houses and wearing whatever civilian clothes they could find. In one episode, a Russian soldier, the last survivor of his unit, was found wearing a t-shirt from a Ukrposhta uniform.
In the Pokrovsk direction, the situation remains very difficult due to the constant attempts of the occupation forces of the aggressor country Russia to advance forward at the expense of the huge number of personnel. However, Junior Lieutenant, Chief of Staff of the 4th Operational Battalion, Force of Freedom of the Frontier Brigade of the Ukrainian Armed Forces Nikolai Gritsenko told Channel 24 that there is no talk of a major advance by the occupation forces. According to him, the Russian units are moving forward, but remain cut off. The command abandons the Russians without communications, water, and ammunition replenishment. In this way, the enemy has advanced deep into the Ukrainian defense. But there is no point in this, since they are simply cut off, the military man emphasized. The occupiers cannot gain a foothold. They are only approaching the Kramatorsk-Dobropolye road, so the front line has not shifted. In some places, there is penetration of enemy sabotage and reconnaissance groups. This is a very common practice in almost all directions. It's just that here it was covered, but somewhere else it is not covered. The information war continues. It's a big lie that Russia is advancing. Many people think that they have covered 10 kilometers in a day. It was not in a day. The enemy sabotage and reconnaissance groups, which are in the center of our combat formations, did not cut through our defense line, did not penetrate, were not successful, did not capture anything, Gritsenko explained. That is, over a period of time, Russian sabotage and reconnaissance groups will be blocked and destroyed by Ukrainian defenders, so the enemy will have no results on the map. The Russian command is not sparing manpower to break through in the Pokrovsk direction because it has a deadline to take control of the city of Pokrovsk by September the 1st. In order to capture the city, the enemy uses all possible methods, including the Russians using drones to drop propaganda leaflets asking the locals to surrender Ukrainian positions. Deputy Commander of the Typhoon Special Forces of Ukraine Unit, Pavel Gvozdenko, told 24 Canal in a commentary that the Russian occupiers are trying to advance in the direction of Pokrovsk by any means possible. In particular, the enemy is using small groups of fighters and disinformation. As Pavel Gvozdenko noted, the enemy is advancing in small groups, or even alone, which makes it difficult to control their actions. First, they occupy separate positions, and only then new forces are pulled in. This tactic allows the Russians, despite significant losses, to gradually move forward. In addition, according to Gvozdenko, the occupiers are misleading the soldiers, convincing them that they are going to already cleared positions. They are misinforming their fighters, saying, "Get out, go there, everything is fine there." Our assault units have cleared everything there, he noted. Mostly Russians die during such tactics, but the unit still manages to gain a foothold. This creates a picture of progress for enemy propaganda, which presents it as a significant achievement. The Crimean Peninsula, occupied by Russia in 2014, is part of the Russian air defense system, which also covers Novorossiysk. That is why it flies at certain objects in the Autonomous Republic of Crimea. This was stated on air by the Director of Security Programs at the Strategy 21 Globalistics Center, Pavel Lakichuk. He was asked what losses the Russian Federation has suffered recently due to attacks on its military facilities located in Crimea, in particular in the context of the destruction of Russian targets, including a landing craft and the newest Yenisei radar. Here we need to distinguish, so to speak, into two parts. The first is the enemy's grouping of forces in Crimea, its permanent deployment points. Those parts of the Russian army that were concentrated there after 2014 to prepare an attack on Ukraine. It is against them that the strikes are carried out, the expert said. The second part, noted Lakichuk, is the understanding that the Crimean Peninsula is an important part of the layered air defense system created by the enemy, the expert emphasized. Western Crimea is the first air defense echelon for the entire south of Russia. In order to strike Novorossiysk, Kuban, Krasnodar, eastern Crimea, it is necessary to break through this defense system. Therefore, according to him, first of all, it flies to Yevpatoria, Tarkankut to Fiolent, a plant in Simferopol, which before the occupation was the largest manufacturer of power tools in Ukraine and Eastern Europe, and after 2014 was nationalized by the aggressor. They are striking at the enemy airfield in Saki, Gvardeskoy, added Lakichuk. Let us recall that recently in the temporarily occupied Crimea, Ukrainian intelligence officers destroyed several Russian radar stations and hit a landing craft. It was said that the enemy radars in domes, the landing craft, and the air defense base on Ipetri were in the crosshairs. It later became known that the targets included the latest Yenisei radar, which is the standard radar for the S-500 Prometheus air defense system. This radar passed state tests to 2022. The Yenisei station is based on a multi-element, interference-resistant active phased antenna array, which allows tracking hypersonic targets moving at altitudes of up to 120 kilometers at speeds of up to 4,800 m/s. In fact, the system intercepts low-orbit space targets.